Away, welcome to Playing the Bounce with me, Dalin Oliver. From left to right, from 7s to 15s. Who am I catching up with today? It's one of our DHL Stormers superstars. This man's won so many trophies. He should get a trophy for winning trophies. That's right. Start the clapping, start the screaming. Your hands in mine for the amazing, the incredible Ruhan Nel. Quick one. What do you call a player who's won a World 7 Series title, the Currie Cup, and Vodacom United Rugby Championship?
Ruhan Nel.
What's up? What a man. I love that.
Yeah,
that is so cool, bro. That is amazing. Like, coming from the Blitzboks setup, going into 15s and just destroying, dominating. I know you're very humble, but as a fan, I can say, you destroy, bro. Yeah. And you're always smiling.
Thanks,
like,
man.
Because you said you're from Benoni,
yeah.
right? So
yeah.
you have to smile to get through life in Benoni.
Not necessarily. You grow up tough there, so you learn a couple of things.
I got you. No, that's proper. As I'm sitting on this, just you're a fit professional rugby player. I'm an unfit fan. How does my core adapt? What's the breathing exercises for me to actually...
Yeah, you probably just have to engage your core. It is a bit tricky.
What if you don't know where your core is? Where's your core?
No, then you need to figure it out.
Okay. Give me professional advice.
If you fall over, just get back up again. I will understand. So.
That's fair. Listen, Ruhan, you stole our hearts, bruh. From Sevens right through to joining Western Province family, the DHL Stormers family. What's it been like, you know, shifting from the 7 space into the 15 space, and also just settling down in the mother city?
Yeah, it's been one crazy ride. You know, playing sevens for a couple of years, coming straight down from Joburg. You know, obviously had a massive privilege. You know, we all know, you know, how well the sevens are still doing. You know, and how well we did back then. You know, fortunate enough to win 2 World Series with them, and then making the transition into Western Province 2017, and then lucky enough to win the Currie Cup my first year with them. You know, so yeah, and then obviously transitioning full time to be with the DHL Stormers, you know, and it's been unbelievable, you know, going through the ups and downs with them to a point where we actually, you know, won our first international competition last season. So
big deal.
Yeah, no, unreal.
I feel like you're a lucky charm. Like everywhere you go, titles are just being won. I want to jump into the 15s quite a bit, but before we get there, you played in such a special era with the Blitzboks, like magical team from coaching staff right down to all the players involved. What was that like? Because I feel it was at a period where we were at the pinnacle and dominating through and through. Like, you kept South Africa happy. You know what I mean? What was that? What was it like playing in the team?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, obviously the crop of guys we had there came from a place, you know, if I speak from my own experience, you know, that was almost like a last stop shop for me, you know. So if the sevens didn't work out, I probably would have left rugby, you know. I would have probably picked up my studies, you know, gone on to work or whatever the case might have been, you know. And I think that was not only my situation, but I think a couple of the boys who was there with us or with me at that time, you know, it was probably the same situation, you know. So I think for us there, you know, it just creates a different team dynamic, you know, when you're playing that with that sense of another form of desperation, you know, like you really want to make this opportunity work. And, you know, I think that's probably the thing that was driving us, you know. And then obviously you had a great guys in, you know, your leadership group, you know, had a Frankie, a Philip, a Sissel. You know, we all know Sissel and love Sissel, you know. So, you know, bring that with a couple of young guys, you know, that's playing with a different form of motivation, you know, desperation. Yeah, it was bound to click, you know. And then you had an awesome coach like Coach Neil, you know, Alan Temple Jones with the Sharks now, you know. So I just think like the team dynamic, you know, and everything, the chemistry that we had between all of us, you know, it was bound to happen for us. You know, to click into dominate.
One of the most special eras of our Blitzboks generation, and we keep getting better and better. But when we look back at it, we'd go, the amount of experience, like everyone was someone with wisdom and leadership qualities. Like, what does it mean? Like, you had a Frankie Owen, you had a Carl Brown, you had you, etc., etc., etc. What was that like? Yeah,
look, I think you know, being at the sevens, one thing that you had to know, you know, like you had to understand your role in the team, you know. So and you know, the guy who's played 35, 50 tournaments, you know, knows a bit more what happens on the circuit than a guy that's maybe playing his first, you know, 5th, 6th tournament. So it wasn't necessarily, you know, about bringing your leadership qualities, you know, about voicing it. It was more about like following instructions, you know, and just fulfilling your role that was required from you. And I think, you know, even Coach Neil at one stage told us, you know, that he had at one stage like almost stopped coaching because the guys knew the job so well You know,
Yes.
so in terms of coaching, it wasn't really like a lot of coaching me, and maybe just like a little bit of realignment here and there. But I just think like the boys just knew their job so well, you know, which obviously made the coaching easier, you know, and made the playing easier for us. So, and once you had that team dynamic going, you know, it was pretty hard to beat us at
Very
at one
difficult.
stage.
No, it was very difficult.
Yeah.
You made South Africa smile, and you still are, bruh.
Yeah.
So you make the shift. You're playing sevens. Now you speak about, to quote, that type of desperation, which you can say, you guys were really good. We don't think it was that, but you know the circumstances you were in. At that moment, what's the shift where you go, I'm going to go to 15s, and it's just going to continue to tick over, and I think I have a shot of taking my game to the next level and changing formats?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I've said it, you know, I think in numerous interviews, you know, like I think all rugby players have that dream to wear the green and gold, you know, in the 15-man code. You know, I was very lucky and blessed, you know, to have won it in the sevens, but I think that dream of mine was also still alive, you know, to see where I can take, you know, my rugby further, you know. So luckily Western Province was very easy, you know, it's maybe just like a 20-minute drive longer from home. But yeah, I was just, you know, I was getting to a point where I was 27 and I was starting to thinking a bit about longevity in my career. You know, sevens is very much a young man's game. So, you know, there was a couple of things that played a role. But at the end, you know, I just thought, you know, I played at Commonwealth Games. You know, I had a shot at the Olympics, won the World Series. You know, you name it, like everything that you can do in sevens, I've already done up until that point, you know. So there was nothing anymore. There was, you know, that desperation of that hunger trying to achieve something. You know, you always try and win tournaments, but I just came to a point where I felt like, you know what, it's about longevity and obviously like a new challenge for me as well, you know. So I think that was the biggest motivation for me to start switching codes. And in the beginning, you know, I started to go, you know, you play the World Series for 6 months of the year and then you join up for Currie Cup. And then in 2018, you know, when I was fortunate enough to link up with the Boks, you know, for the last 2 games of the championship, and then at the end of the end of the year tour, yeah, that was my last.
What was that like?
Yeah, it was unreal. Though.
Did you cry? Give us the moments. I want to know from the time you got the call up. So did they phone you? Did they email? Did they SMS you? How did you find out?
I basically received a text from the Springbok medical team, like asking about my injury, like my past, you know, any current injuries or niggles that I'm struggling with, and then I started to know, okay, probably, you know, and obviously, like, you know, you hear a couple of things in camp, you know, like listening to everyone, you know, they might be looking at it, so, but you obviously don't do anything about it. Obviously, it's a big excitement, but you just don't do anything about it until you officially had the call up. So, getting called up to the last 2 matches for the championship. They played Australia down in the Eastern Cape. And then they played against New Zealand up in Pretoria, and I was involved for those 2 matches. I went knowing that I wasn't going to play, you know, because I just came in.
Still the environment,
the championship was basically over. But I mean, you know, I've never been in a Super Rugby setup up until that point. You know, I've never played with a guy like a Eben or a Sia. You know, I was watching these guys on TV. You know, so
they've been watching you on TV as well.
But I mean, like, you know, for me, coming from that point of desperation, you know, and then playing sevens and then actually wearing the Springbok uniform on your chest, you know, like, you know, the 15-man code Springbok, you know, it seems so far away. So to have transitioned, you know, probably within a couple of games playing Currie Cup, and all of a sudden you're in between these guys, you were a bit bomb shocked, you know. Yeah, so I always say this, you know, end of the year I went along and, you know, still you bomb shocked, you know, like
that adrenaline keeps you going.
100%, you know. So and I don't blame myself, you know, because the thing is, I went and obviously, like, you really want to play for the Springboks. I mean, why wouldn't you? You're there, you want to play, and I still remember Coach Rassi was saying, you know, like they want to try and give everybody an opportunity. And in my mind, I'm like, you know, I'm going to be a bog. You know, but obviously opportunities are only, you know, they can only tell you, but it's never guaranteed. You know, you might lose here or there, and plans change, which is understandable, you know. But you know, I think on that tour, I was so badly trying to, you know, be what I wanted to be that I almost forgot a bit about myself. You know, almost like my natural abilities that made me. You know, made me good and got me there, you know, which I don't blame, because I've never been in that environment, you know, you just want to get selected, you just want to play, so you'll do anything to play, you know what I mean? But I mean, to have been with them for 4 weeks on tour, you know, you went Paris, England, Scotland, you know, Wales.
Bruh, I'm saying this, you're still knocking on the door, you're still there.
Thank you very much.
No, bruh, 100%, dude. Ruhan Nel, we can't say Ruhan Nel without saying your full name. Like, that's how quiet you are. You must
Thanks, man, I
never
appreciate
forget
it.
that.
Yeah,
Real
I
talk,
appreciate it, man.
Real talk.
Yeah.
So now coming into the 15-man setup, and I was laughing off camera with you going, I even asked for permission out of respect. I'm like, I think it's fair to say you're one of the senior statesmen with a lot of experience. So with youngsters coming through in the DHL Stormers setup and in Province Rugby, what's it like working with him, especially given your experience as you crossed over from both?
Yeah, look, I think at the Sevens, it was such a killer mentality that you learned there. It's a very tough environment, as I'm sure we're all aware. So, like there, if I'm going to be frank with you, like in the Sevens they teach, in training, if you see a guy that's tired, if you spot weakness, that's opportunity for you to
take him out,
to get in there. So. Being one of the older guys in the Stormers
squad,
you see the youngsters coming in, so there is still a part of me that's like, if I see him struggle, I'm going to be like, that's my opportunity, to make him. But in the same breath, you have to be clever about it. It's a young boy. If you take a guy like Suleiman, Sasha, that came in. I played centre with Sasha before. Suleiman had got a bit of training time with him before. Obviously, the season started. You have to learn these guys. At the end of the day, it's a squad effort to win the ORC. So. It's about taking time, maybe just helping them with a couple of things that they struggle with, and that's obviously lifting the whole squad. I think the more internal competition there is in the squad, the better it is for everybody to lift the game, which is obviously making the boat go faster. So ultimately, that's the main purpose.
Move, and the boat moved, and we won the Voter Cup United Rugby
Championship.
I still cry. Everyone cries. Everyone in the Mother City cries.
Unbelievable.
Do you look back at that season and just go, wow? Because you're heading to Europe, you don't know. Because we haven't been that side of the world yet. A lot of the times, it's first time you're playing this opposition. And then looking back at the magical season.
Yeah, I do. I literally said the other day, like I was at that game that the Bulls played the Stormers in Soweto Stadium in 2010. I was still at school. And, where I grew up in Benoni, like professional rugby, you had a dream to play it, but Newlands and Jean de Villiers and Jacques Currie and Brian Abena, these were the guys that you only saw on TV. This was such a far-fetched thing, never in my wildest dreams that I think that the next time the Stormers play the Bulls in an international final, I'll be the starting 13. So it's crazy to think, who played in the Stormers jersey all these years, and you being part of that first team to win the international tournament. Jacques Fourie is now coaching the Lions defensive structures. And when I was growing up, Jacques was, I was like, flip, it's Jacques Fourie.
This is the guy. Can I get a photo?
Yeah,
with the old school camera.
Yeah, one of my idols. So unreal to think of the guys who's played in these jerseys, before us. So to have obviously put this jersey on and then went on to win a URC. It's unreal to obviously have contributed towards that legacy of the Stormers and everything that goes with it.
I love how you smile when you recap these memories, because it just shows how present you are and were in the moments, and also how much you love what you do. Like, it's great seeing people really love what they do. From your side, the most intimidating opposite number that you've run against, and I know you, but you're from Benoni, you're not scared of anything, right? But who's that one guy you go, hey, it's going to be a tough day at the office?
I don't think I've ever played against anyone that I thought, it might be a tough day at the office, but I think the guy I was probably most aware of, we were still playing Super Rugby, it was probably between Samu Karevi, who played 13 against me, and Rika Ioane. Just because I faced Rika at Sevens, when he was still a youngster coming through. And we played centre against each other, when I was playing for the Blitzboks and he was playing for New Zealand Sevens. So I knew who he was, coming into Super Rugby. So it was probably the guy that I was the most aware of. He can tackle, he can run, he can pass, he can step. So, he presents a lot of threats. So it's probably those two guys. And I tried to tackle Samu once. I managed to tackle him a couple of times, but there was one time that I tried to tackle him, and he got the better of me.
That's fine.
He put me down, but it's rugby.
You went in 10,000%.
At least my commitment was there,
So. And in terms of favourite centre pairings to have worked with over the years?
Yeah, I think it's between two. If I had to look at, we all know Damon Dalinda's quality, but I didn't really play much with Dukes. COVID hit and all of those things. So coming back out of COVID, it'll probably be Dan Doop. Who's playing 12 for us now, and Damien Willems. Damien, after Doopy got injured last season, Damien slotted into 12, and he also had a great season, So, Damien's intensity, carrying the ball, defending, I just love his whole mentality on the field, We almost feed off each other. And then Doopy at the same time, Doopy is just a guy who gets down to business, He doesn't do a lot of talking, he just does what's, required from him. So I think those two are probably neck on neck for me, I love them both in the way they play. So either one of them next to me is always
You're
fun.
winning, you know you're in good company. What's been your favourite part of moving from Sevens to 15s?
I think just experiencing like a different team culture. You're always going to take time to adapt on field. Like people always say, Sevens is quicker, which it is quicker, but you're just running quicker with the ball. But there's so much more time that you have on the ball in terms of physically having the ball in your hands before you need to make a decision. We're 15s. People say it's slower, but your decision making needs to be so much quicker. There's way less time on the ball. There's way less space on the ball. So you almost need to be one or two steps ahead the whole time. So that side I also enjoyed, learning and getting below the belt.
Yeah.
But I just think, coming from a squad where it was 20 guys, to almost become closer is very easy. To a squad, you have 35, 40 guys.
Yeah.
A management squad probably of, 10 or 12, to getting that dynamic going, everybody happy, everybody on the same page is also something that we loved experiencing, and actually something that we love contributing towards too as well, like coming here, teaching what we learn at the Sevens, them teaching us. So, just that team dynamic, and building on that culture of the Stormers as well.
Magic. Ruhan Nel, we appreciate you. And Bra, you're just such a lucky guy. Good luck with everything. Good luck with the recovery from injury, and just go out there and keep being an amazing human, bro.
Yeah, thanks guys, I appreciate it.
Oh, wait, lekker. Cheers. There we go. It's pretty simple. Just like in the game of rugby, you too can get better at playing the bounce in life with the help of change science. So go to the Change Exchange and learn how to play the bounce. Away.